Hi, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Mrs Mummypenny Talks. We are on to episode 7 now. I hope it is episode 7 now I've said that. It's Food Money Savings Day, and I have another expert guest to talk to us, the wonderful Amy Sheppard, who is a food writer and a cook extraordinaire and author of lots and lots of books. And I was racking my brains, Amy.
Yeah.
How long have we actually known each other, and have we actually met before? Did we meet at an event?
We haven't actually, although weirdly, when you said that, I suddenly thought, oh, maybe I have met you. Do you know, I don't think we haven't met in person.
Did we not
we've known
meet
each other
Did we
since
not?
pretty much the beginning of the whole
Yeah.
Instagram thing.
I'm wondering whether did you not do that Smart Energy GB?
No.
Yeah.
Unless we met
How do we even know each other?
Years ago, I did an Aldi. Did we do an Aldi Christmas together?
Maybe.
You know, they do the Christmas in summer. You know, they do the summer and
Christmas in July. Yeah.
Christmas in July, that's what it's called. I did one of those. Maybe I don't know. I don't think I have met you, but I feel like from the very early days of Instagram, I mean, I've been on for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
You were one of the people I knew right from the very beginning, because I guess a lot of my followers probably don't know that was where I started in kind of budgeting and food. You know, that was what I did. My first book was called The Savvy Shopper's Cookbook, and it was all about saving money with cooking. And I guess my Instagram has evolved since then, and my new cookbook isn't necessarily just about budgeting, but that's where I started. Thank you very much.
The new cookbook, of course, I have a copy because Amy sent me one.
Thank you.
So this, your book came out not that long ago, was it?
Early June.
Yeah. And it is just, I mean, I've made several things from it. It's very family friendly. Like, there's a lot of food in here that my children actually like, which as a parent, that's half the battle with food, isn't it?
It is. It's a big part of it.
But yeah, so right, how we're going to structure this podcast, just to give people some information, is so Amy obviously knows an awful lot about budgeting with food spend and cooking and sort of frugal cooking, which, I mean, let's face it, like, food is one of our biggest spends. It's probably our second biggest spend, maybe after rent or mortgage. So it's a really great way to strip a bit of costs out of your budget each month by reducing your food spend, switching supermarkets or whatever. So I thought what we'd start with is going through, like, maybe your big 5 ways of saving money on food, and I'll obviously pop up with my ideas as well, and then we're going to talk about some more specific areas of food. So I thought we could cover off packed lunches, one of my favorite subject areas, and if we could also cover off healthy eating and, like, how to get 7 a day into the diet, because I have to say I really struggle with that personally, so let alone for my children, it is really hard, and also dealing with fussy eaters as well, and how to do all of that on a budget is quite a difficult thing.
It's definitely challenging.
Yeah, so let's go for it then. So what are your sort of few big ways to save money on food?
So I think the number one way, and I've written about it and talked about it quite a lot, is meal planning. And actually, in fact, I did a poll with my followers the other day in preparation for this, and I was also writing an article for a paper. So I think the poll said about 60% of people already meal plan to some extent, maybe not every single time, but 40% of people don't. And I was really surprised by that. And the 2 main reasons that people don't seem to be meal planning is, one, they want to be flexible. They want to just pop into the supermarket, do a 3-day shop, get what they fancy for dinner that night, which I completely get, I do understand. And lots of people I know are maybe working unusual hours, like shift work and things that make a big weekly or 10-day shop really difficult. And the other reason seemed to be that people didn't really know where to start with meal planning.
Yeah.
And it just seemed a bit overwhelming, and like it would take a really, really long time. But a recent article said you can save up to 40% on your annual food bills by just doing meal planning.
Yeah.
the main reasons for that is you're obviously reducing your waste, so you're throwing away less food, because everything you buy, you've got a plan for. I hate it as well. And
but
it's
something
really,
I
really
always,
difficult if you're kind of going to the supermarket and you're just getting maybe the bits you get every single week. You don't really notice that maybe you're throwing the same things away over and over again. And the other thing that meal planning does is, I know people think, oh, it's really time consuming and it's really sort of, exacting, kind of writing everything you're eating. But I think ultimately in the end, it does save you time, because I think the work involved in having to cobble together a dinner from random ingredients and not having a plan actually ends up in the long run taking longer. So it's almost a kind of false time saving.
And also, it's going to be like better for you as well, like healthier, because you can actually plan in advance to make those, put stuff in the slow cooker. That might be another one of your tips, actually. But like a wonderful casserole in the slow cooker or on the hob, like your book. It's great healthy food, perfect for this time of the year as well, isn't it? And super, super cheap. So
it's really good. Like, slow cookers are absolutely brilliant. I did a slow cooker this week. It's really great because you can use up leftovers, so it's great for using up your roast. Really great way to make a little bit of meat go quite a long way, because you can pack it out with veg. So again, using up all of the veg you've got in the fridge that might be going out of date. You can also buy less expensive cuts of meat, because you can buy maybe the tougher cuts of meat, which are always cheaper, and that's fine because you cook them low and slow and they'll be lovely and soft and they'll have loads of flavour. So again, you can save money by doing that with the slow cooker. And then there is a really cheap bit of kit as well. I was also going to say about slow cookers, they're super cheap to buy, like, get a cheap one from Argos, probably from Aldi, but the energy wise, they use hardly any electricity, and I've been banging on about this for weeks and weeks now because of the energy crisis that's ongoing at the moment. So at the time of recording, we're recording this 13th of October, we are still in this energy crisis. And what I'm encouraging people to do is to use less energy, because costs are going up of electricity. We can't avoid it. We just can't. So but what we can control is how much energy we use. So that's so true. I'm a bit you're going to be mortified by this, Lynn, and I almost don't want to tell you, but we only got a smart meter fitted last week, which I know is appalling, and I've been nagged about it for a really long time by the energy companies to do it. So we finally got it, and we're all obsessed, like we cannot believe. And I thought I was really good. I really thought I was good until I started seeing it, and stupid things like boiling the kettle or how much the washing machine, and it really makes you think about how much we're using.
I stopped using the tumble dryer, full stop, because my smart meter, this isn't a promotion for smart meters, although I do quite a bit of work with them, full disclosure. My tumble dryer was costing me like £1 per cycle to use, and it would easily have been on like every day, every couple of days, with a full household. So that's just so much money. So now I've just got a clothes airer, which is right there in front of me. I know it looks ugly, but I don't care. Like, the clothes take a couple of days to dry, but it's saving like a load of money.
Yeah, we're the same. We don't have time. I mean, because we don't have the space for it, but it's crazy how much things cost when you start looking at them.
And the smart meter, right, it's a controversial subject. There's a lot of people out there that are very against them because they think that the government's tracking them, but come on, we've all got mobile phones and we're being tracked with our mobile phones. So it's not going to save you money, but what it's going to do is it's going to, as you alluded to, it's going to give you the information of how much energy you're using and how much that's costing. So you've just got it, so you're a little bit obsessed with it. I've had mine for years, but I still check it. I sort of check how much I've used every week just to see how I'm going. And particularly now, once, like, I put the heating on last night, I've had the heating on a couple of times over the last week, and that's when the costs are really going to start to shoot up. So
yeah,
it's just something to keep an eye on, and then you don't get like a massive bill shock where, oh my gosh, you've suddenly used like 200 quid's worth of energy in a month,
yeah,
300 quid's worth of energy in a month, and your direct debit isn't enough, and all that
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, we digress onto energy. I've done, you would not believe how many like radio interviews and TV interviews I've done, because energy is one of my it's one of my like specialist sort of subjects in personal finance. Like,
yeah, I've seen you do a lot of work with energy.
I know a lot about it. So
yeah,
the BBC like to use me as an expert.
so you've been really busy recently with all of the stuff on the news.
Yeah, it's great. Like I love it. I absolutely love it. And
yeah,
I suppose it fundamentally goes back to why you do what you do and why I do what I do. We genuinely want to help people to save money, to spend less on their food, to eat better, to be more healthy, because it's going to just, enrich the people that are in our sort of community of readers and followers. But
yeah, definitely.
what it all comes back to, really, isn't it?
My second tip would be, and I think you would probably say, Lynn, that this goes across all financial, like saving and preparation, is being honest with yourself, because I know that if you shop little and often and you're going to different supermarkets, and even I've really noticed it since we moved to Cornwall, because we don't live in the middle of nowhere, but we live in a little village. And it's a 45-minute round trip to that's the nearest supermarket. So if you've forgotten something, you don't have it, is basically what it is now. But before, and I've always done a weekly shop, and I've always done, well, for the most part, I've always done meal planning. But we used to live about 5 minutes away from a Sainsbury's. And so I could always pop in, and even if you didn't really need to, you go and go, actually, do you know what, I fancy this for dinner. And actually staying out of the supermarket is is the main way to save money, really, because if you're going back to get bits and bobs, you're going to end up spending more. There is no stopping that. So I would say, be really honest with yourself. Go to your bank account and actually find out how much you are spending on food. Food and drink and toiletries and stuff, and add it all together. They normally have a really good circle of where your budget is going, how much of it is mortgage or rent and how much of it is food shops, and it will add all of your food shops up together, and you can work out how much you're spending. And I would imagine that for the most part, people will be quite surprised how much it adds up to, because it isn't the £100 shop that often is the main expense. It's the £15, the £20, the £22 when you're just getting a bag of shopping or something nice that you fancy for the weekend.
I keep, as all my listeners and watchers will know, I keep a spending diary and I publish it. So I know in intimate detail how much I spend on food, and I like to think of my food sort of as a whole. So groceries plus, so I separate out groceries and eating out. But then I just add them together as food spend, and it's shocking, right? So some months, particularly when we were given our freedom back again, so sort of May, June, I was all excited about, going out and eating in restaurants and seeing my friends and stuff, which obviously was great. And, everybody was almost in the same boat. But I was spending like £600-700 a month on my groceries plus my eating out. Like, it's so much money, and you only get a handle on it when you do exactly what you say, you put it all down. And like I was all proud of myself for, I've spent like, I don't know, 80 quid at Aldi for the week. But then when you add on the little like stopping off at Co-op and maybe popping into Tesco's for a little emergency shop, and I can only really cope with Aldi like once a week, because my local Aldi is a bit of a stressful one. But it's just really eye-opening, and I'm far from perfect with my spending, as I write.
Oh, same. I think that this is the thing. It's not about being perfect. It's about increasing your awareness about how much you're spending and just trying to reduce it by a percentage. So it's all relative to kind of how much you're spending. Everyone's going to have a different budget. Everyone's going to have different means. So it's, it's just working within that and trying to trying to reduce it, because there is no doubt about it, food prices are going to go up over the next few months for all of us. And it's exactly the same we were talking about with energy, is we're going to have to find new and imaginative ways to cook and to eat, because things, you know, have the potential to get quite tricky budget wise.
So on that note then, which is maybe one of your top tips, or it's certainly one of mine, is reducing your meat consumption.
Yeah, that's what
moving. So I have made a genuine move towards, I mean, a healthy eating sort of journey at the moment, but I try to eat vegetarian or vegan like half the week, and then meat is more of a treat for me. And when I eat meat, it's very rarely red meat.
Yeah,
again, it's the health stuff, but also red meat is really expensive. So
we do exactly the same. So my youngest is a vegetarian, and has been for the last couple of years, so I don't want to make separate dinners for the most part. Occasionally I will do, but for the most part we all have to eat the same thing. So it's trying to find dinners, because I would quite happily eat vegetarian most of the time. I'm not massively fussed. I wouldn't want to be a vegetarian full time, but equally it doesn't bother me eating veggie dinners. My husband, on the other hand, is a big meat eater,
carnivore,
and so he really is, and has had to kind of reduce his meat intake because I do the cooking. So he just, that's what he gets. But it is really tricky, but I do think it saves such a huge amount of money. I really notice it on my shop. If I'm doing when I wrote the cookbook, obviously I'm doing lots of recipe testing and having a lot of, some weeks we had a lot of meat, because it just so happened that they were the recipes that I was testing, and the amount that my shopping bill went up by was massive. And it's, you know, veggie dinners as well. People think of veggie dinners as, you know, eating tofu and lentils, and it has to be, it doesn't have to be like that. It's,
love lentils.
I think I do as well, but I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people find it a bit alarming. You think being vegetarian is all about eating foods that they don't really like. But I think maybe don't think of it as vegetarian, just think of it as meat free.
Yeah.
You know, there are plenty of meat free dinners, really simple ones like soup for dinner, which I know can be controversial for some people, jacket potatoes, thinking not every dinner has to be a big meaty expensive fare. Actually you can make really great food like jacket potatoes. Everyone will love it. My love a jacket potato dinner, and so it can just be meat free, as opposed to some complex vegetarian dinner that everyone will push around their plate if they're not.
And I'm last week, it was last week, so you mentioned the Aldi Christmas event, so the Aldi Christmas event was last week, September. Obviously COVID changes everything, but it was amazing. Like, it was just, the food was so good. Aldi do not pay me to say this, but you know, I'm a journalist, so I get invited to these kind of events, although they did give me a goodie bag with lots of exciting stuff.
Lovely Christmas bits.
A lot of alcohol when I'm not drinking at the moment. It's slightly frustrating, but I will be drinking again.
Nice to have something to look forward to though when you finish.
They gave me a lovely bottle of gin and a bottle of champagne, so that was nice. But there was lots of meat substitute products, in the Christmas range. So there was fake turkey, there was fake pigs in blankets, and I'm just like, no, that's not what veganism or vegetarianism is about, is it? It's the beauty of incredible vegetables and turning them into something amazing. So I did actually say that to the vegan buyer. I was like, that fake turkey, that's disgusting. And he was like, well, that's
really tricky, isn't it? Because, you know, I'm not going to lie, I love a corn nugget, and they are a really good staple in our freezer occasionally when my youngest is having something different. But the problem is most of them cost as much as meat, and most of them are really, really processed. So you're not getting any health benefits. And I think there's almost this kind of false idea that if you're eating vegetarian, you're eating healthy, and it's actually a healthier option. But actually often the vegetarian products are more processed than maybe getting really good quality chicken or a cut of steak. So it's really tricky, but again, you know, can be really handy if you've got one veggie in the family and you occasionally need to do something different. So I'm you know, I love a lot of the products. So
yeah, and the other thing, which maybe links to the fussy eaters subject, is so my boys, well, particularly my eldest boy plays like academy football, so his nutrition's really important to him, and like he's nearly 14, okay, so he's a growing, strapping teenager. He needs a lot of protein because he does so much exercise. So it's like, how do you get like decent levels of protein plus all the like healthy fruit and veg into children and like into us as well? We're just as important, but I almost feel like it's a more of a responsibility, isn't it, where you're feeding these growing children, and it just feels a bit more important when they're a teenager, just because they're going through this.
It really does. I'm in the same position. My eldest has literally 2 weeks ago turned 14, and he's taller than me. He's knocking on the door of 6 foot already.
Wow.
They're super sporty, so where we live is very sort of outdoorsy, so they swim a lot, and they're out and about a lot, so they're kind of, they eat. I don't know what happened. Suddenly my eldest, you probably had this as well, that they woke up one morning, went, we're just going to eat all day every day, and and I can't fill them up ever. So I'm sure all teenagers, but parents of teenagers can relate to that. So it's really hard getting the protein and getting the amount of food. And also, I don't know if you found this as well, I don't know whether it's the hormones or what it is, but they are drawn to junk food and sugar and things that are bad for them. It's almost like I don't know,
advertising
happens. Maybe advertising, maybe that's what it is, but I definitely feel that they sort of crave sugar, so it feels like a kind of constant battle to stop them eating sugar.
It's so DJ, my eldest, he's not so much of a sugar, although he adores Diet Coke, like that's his thing. But he is more, because it's drummed into him at football that like he needs to have this healthy diet, has to have this healthy diet. But I'm always really conscious that I need to be giving him like chicken and pasta and cheese, that not obviously not pasta's protein, but like it wouldn't be enough to give him and eggs, that's another one he has a lot of, but it wouldn't be enough to give him like lentils and well, he wouldn't eat tofu anyway, but so it's quite a struggle, I have to admit. And also for me, like, because I've been going to the gym quite a lot, and it's really important to have a protein boost after you've been to the gym, isn't it? Because otherwise you'll lose your muscle mass. So,
but things like pulses and beans, they have really high levels of protein in them.
Right.
So that is almost pound for pound. They are the same as probably chicken, like a lean chicken.
Right. Wow.
So I don't know about tofu, to be honest with you, but I think it's quite high in protein. But lentils are brilliant, and beans are really great source of protein.
Yeah, like kidney beans and all the different.
Like I buy tins of mixed beans, which is another one of my top tips as well. Is I always say think tinned, because especially now when we're looking at spending less money, there are so many great meals that can be made from tinned food. People have written cookbooks on
Jack Monroe's got a really good book, isn't she, which is called Tin Can Book.
I think Tin Can Cook, and there's another one that's come out. I don't know if you follow Theo Cooks. He's got the 5 dinners on Instagram. He has got a book called Canned that's just come out, which looks really good. So there's quite a few canned food cookbooks.
I buy hardly any canned food.
There are so many. Tinned lentils, tinned mixed beans are great because you can throw them in stews. You can, if you're looking at boosting protein as well, and if you're using the slow cooker, or even if you're just cooking on the hob, throwing a tin of mixed beans in is just really, really bulks it out. It's really healthy. It's one of your 5 a day as well, which is something we were talking about. So beans,
of course, like baked beans, they're one of your 5
a day. So tins of mixed beans are as well, and you often get mixed beans and you get sweet corn in there too. So they're a really great ingredient. Tinned fish is something that I buy all the time. So my youngest is, I keep saying he's vegetarian, is actually pescatarian, so he does eat fish, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
So tuna, tinned mackerel, tinned sardines, they're all really cheap. They are so good for you. They've got so many good oils in them, good source of protein, and they're really cheap, so they're great for making pastas and salads and sandwiches.
I was going to say, you've got some good recipes in your book for like, there's a lot of pasta recipes that have got like fish and stuff added to them, aren't there?
Yeah, we have lots of salmon. We buy bags of frozen salmon, which is a really good way to buy it, and then you can just, it's portioned out separately, so you can just use it as you need it.
That's the other money saving tip, isn't it? Is look in the frozen aisle as well, which I know I automatically just go to the fresh meat and fresh fish, where the frozen stuff, it's like loads cheaper, and just as good.
It's loads cheaper, and often the stuff that's fresh has been frozen anyway at some point. So it ends up, you end up buying a similar quality ingredient. The other thing is, whilst we're talking about frozen, is frozen vegetables are absolutely brilliant. So, and again, another really good tip to add to 5 a day, your 7 a day it is. So I have bags of different frozen veg, so bags of green beans, broccoli, cauliflower, and what you can do is, if you're putting it on the side, just get a microwavable bowl and just get a little handful of each, cover them in boiling water and pop them in the microwave, and so you're just using what you need. So it's a really good way to get a mix of different veg, but there's no waste at all, and it's just always there. It's a really quick way to just stick some veg on the side.
And it's not going to be like languishing in your, the bottom drawer of the fridge. It goes out of date and turns moldy.
Because I think that's probably the thing most people would say they throw away the most is mouldering veg from the bottom drawer, bags of salad or half a courgette, that kind of thing. So frozen veg is great because it reduces the overall amount of fresh veg that you're going to end up throwing away, and it's so much cheaper as well.
But salad is a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Because you have to buy salad stuff fresh, really, because I always, no fail, I always chuck out like a third of a packet of salad leaves. I just don't know why.
It doesn't last, does it?
No.
It really doesn't last and goes quite soggy. Although a great trick with that is kitchen roll. If you fold up kitchen roll, put it in the bag, it absorbs some of the moisture, so it stops it going slimy and soggy.
Good tip.
So that's make it last longer. And spinach as well, because spinach, when if you get a bag of spinach and it goes really slimy, do the same with that, and it takes some of the moisture out of it, so it keeps it drier and fresher for longer, so it'll give you an extra couple of days on it.
That's amazing, because spinach is such a great so spinach is a wonder food. So where's the book I was reading? It's over there. So I've just started reading a book yesterday which is about preparing yourself for perimenopause. Because I'm pretty damn sure that it has started for me, which I'm so excited about, like really not, but I'm tackling it head on. I'm educating myself with a book from a doctor, and I've got my blood tests and stuff, which is why I need to end this podcast at a certain time, but because I've got to get my tests done. But so there's certain vegetables which are wonder vegetables, so you've got and what you're meant to do, particularly, I mean it's valid throughout your whole life, but it's really important to women who are in that perimenopause stage or going through the menopause, is eating the rainbow of vegetables. So the greens, obviously spinach, broccoli, they're the good ones, and then the blues, which is like aubergine and blueberries, reds, peppers, what were the other good ones for reds? And then yellows. I can't think of any yellow vegetables now. Squash, butternut squash, courgettes, but it was, and there was not much in there about fruit, because the problem with fruit is I know it's natural, but it's got natural sugar in it, and it's still sugar. And some fruit is quite acidic, so like tomatoes and strawberries are quite acidic food, so that doesn't, if you've got any sort of irritation inside in your gallbladder or kidneys or anything, then acidic food,
just trying to keep everything alkali that you're eating, like an alkaline diet.
So
it reduces inflammation, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I had gallstones years and years ago, and yeah, I had to cut out anything acidic and fatty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are, but the great thing about spinach is, well, you can buy frozen spinach, but it's a really great vegetable just to chuck into, I don't know, a spag bowl, or just something that you've already been cooking. It's just that extra vegetable you can chuck in.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, that's one of the vegetables. I do sometimes buy it fresh because I do quite like having it with my lunch. I quite often have like brown rice or couscous. So you can just throw the couscous in with some spinach, and it takes like 5 minutes to steam. So it's really good. But the frozen spinach is brilliant because it comes in blocks, and you can just defrost it, and you always have it, so you can throw it in anything like stews or soups, or just, you know, chuck a couple of blocks of spinach. It's a really great frozen ingredient.
Yeah, and really, really cheap.
Yeah.
Full of iron, and we all need an iron boost, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
We don't eat, iron's one of those things that we just don't have enough of in our diet. So
no, it's really tricky. It's one of those things that's really tricky to get.
Yeah. So have we exhausted all the big...
I think so. I mean, God, I could talk till the cows come home about
I've got one.
Change. Gone.
Batch cooking.
Batch cooking, yes. Batch cooking definitely saves you money. I personally think it saves you more time than money, batch cooking. But I think anything that keeps you out of the supermarket and away from the takeaway because you've got ready-made meal is going to ultimately save you money. But batch cooking's brilliant. I think particularly this time of year when we're all doing soups and stews, and we've got leftover roasts and things, we're doing extra portions. Even if it's an extra portion of tomato sauce that will go in a spaghetti bolognese, or could go in a chili, or you could use it as a base for a soup. Just having those portioned up makes such a difference and stops you from grabbing a jar from the supermarket as well.
How do you, when you do batch cooking, how do you store it? Have you just got loads of Tupperware things that go in your food?
Just got loads of Tupperware. I've got loads of Tupperware that I can never ever find the lids for. Got in my cupboard. I don't know if anyone else is the same, but I don't know where they go, the lids for the Tupperware. But yeah, it's a constant thing. But my kids eat that much that I don't feel like I do that much batch cooking. I feel like I have the intention of doing it, but the leftovers tend to go in the fridge and everything gets eaten, because I tend to be more of a freezing it for dinner. We'll have it for leftovers for lunch the next day,
and then it's just gone.
And then it's just gone. So I guess I could make much bigger quantities, but I guess because of the position that I'm in, being a food writer, I'm always making new food. So I would just end up filling the freezer up, so the next day I have to create something different, whether it's for Instagram or, you know,
you're lucky,
an article or something.
Oh my gosh, so incredibly well.
Yeah, when it goes well, but obviously bear in mind that people on Instagram and people who get the books only see the ones that went well. It's because my family are obviously they're the test dummies, so they also have to have the ones that don't go so well, that didn't work, they never make it to Instagram.
So with your book then, how many recipes are in your book? 80?
80, yeah, like 80, 83, I think.
So how did you have to, like, how many didn't make it?
Oh, loads didn't make it. Like not loads and loads. Probably in my first book, there were loads and loads because I hadn't been doing it for as long. And you learn so much. You just learn stuff along the way. You learn about quantities and measurements. You learn about.
I've made that.
Have you? Oh yes, you have. Of course you have. I've seen it.
It was amazing. It was like KFC.
Do you know what the thing is? Where you don't have to do that with nachos either. You can just do that as like a Tuesday night dinner and just bread the chicken and have it with salad and chips or something. You don't have to do like the full weekend nacho thing. It's just quite a nice way of
popcorn chicken nacho.
Yeah, and actually it seems to make quite a small amount of chicken go a really long way. It seems to do like loads of the popcorn chicken, but so it's not that many don't make the book these days, but they obviously need to be worked on. So most of the base for it, and then it'll be tested a couple of times and tweaked and changed, and then, you know, that's
do you take the pictures or does somebody else?
No, so those pictures were taken by a food photographer, Polly Webster, and so what happens is you put your proposal in for your book to the publishers, and they decide they want to do it, and then you get the manuscript to them with test photos. So you give them an idea of what it looks like, how it'd be presented, whether it would have herbs on the top or whether it's like a bowl or a plate type dinner, to give them an idea. And then once the book's kind of gone backwards and forwards, sort of midway through the publishing process, it then goes out to a food photographer and food stylist who would normally be on set with me and my editor, but this was right in the middle of lockdown. So it was very weird, and it was all done over Zoom over a couple of weeks.
God.
It was shot.
They had to cook it themselves.
Yeah, so they cook it themselves. That always happens. So the food stylist cooks it and presents it, having been given a brief by the publisher, and then it gets photographed by the photographer. And then what normally happens is the editor and the art director and me would be there going, oh yeah, but could you put a bit of, I don't know, a bit of parsley on top, a bit more pepper, can we put a bit of sauce on it, that type of thing. But obviously it was all done over Zoom. And it was like when London had that massive heat wave, I think it was August last year, and so honestly, poor guys, Adam and Polly, were cooking like 10, 11, 12 dinners a day in this studio in this boiling hot heat. So yeah, it was crazy. And whilst we were all on Zoom saying, can you add a bit more parsley?
Oh my God,
really
that sounds so time consuming as well. It must have taken forever.
Yeah, I'm completely in awe of them. I mean, with the Savvy Shoppers, I got to go to the studio and see it all happen with the food stylist and photographer, and it's just amazing. I'm just completely in awe, because when I do a brand shoot in the kitchen, like my kitchen is stuff everywhere. There's stuff everywhere. To get food looking like I want it to look, there's like a big process that has to happen in my kitchen, but they just kind of knock out 10, 11, 12 dinners, and they're just very calm, very organized people. I think it's a real skill set doing it. And
do you do you know my friend Natalie Selden? She's Pretty Edible Stylist.
Yes, yeah. I don't know her, but I know of her.
Yeah, she's a food stylist, and her pictures are stunning, but she's like that about the pictures she actually puts on, just general Instagram as well. She's really particular about it, and the words she uses and the hashtag. I'm like, I mean, obviously we both have Instagram profiles with a fair amount of followers, but I'm very much like, take a picture, that'll do. I don't curate my feed in any way, and I don't even plan my feed. I suppose I don't. I do a little bit, like I knew I needed to share some Aldi Christmas pictures today, and I know I need to share a podcast promotion thing tomorrow, because I've got a weekly structure, but I make up what I put in the words as well, and I make up my hashtags.
I normally decide. I have to decide roughly at the beginning of it, when I do the food shop, what I'm going to get to make for the recipes, what I'm planning on cooking, but then sometimes that will turn into something else, and I'll have a different idea and turn those ingredients into something else. But I normally post about 4:00, and I decide about 4:45 what I'm going to post. I normally quickly edit a photo and then and put it up. And my stories I don't plan for at all, which is why they're so random. I just get an idea in my head, and it's just kind of my day, really.
But your stories have been really easy, because you just share all the stuff that people tag you in that they've cooked.
Yes, that has been really good, actually. People have just been doing that. That's been brilliant. I love seeing what people are cooking as well.
It's like when I get the messages from people saying, oh, thank you for helping me take my head out of the sand, I'm now paying off my debt, and get that amazing message at the end of it where they say, I've paid off my debt. It's like that kind of,
that must be amazing to hear that.
Incredible.
Because you know how life-changing that is if someone's paid off their debt. That must be such a great feeling.
It's huge. It is the absolute core of why I do what I do. It's I even more important now for both of us. Like, the next few months are going to be incredibly tough, and I think we're gonna probably we'll ride it until, you know, Christmas, and then the like shit is gonna hit the fan in January and February. You know, people will be paying for Christmas and energy bills will be sky high, and it's just like it's quite overwhelming when you actually think about how bad things can get. So I just sort of have to take it back down and think practically of, right, what information can I get out there that's gonna have the widest reach? So what newspapers can I work with? You know, what brands can I work with who will then put money behind, you know, sharing, because I know you do a lot of work with Sainsbury's, don't you?
I do. For the last sort of probably coming up a year, really, I work with Sainsbury's.
And if you can get, they've got huge marketing budgets, right, that they can put behind those posts. And I mean, you've got your own huge audience anyway, but once you've got a big brand behind it, they can chuck thousands of pounds behind things, and then suddenly like loads of people are seeing these
definitely
money saving content, money saving recipes. So that's sort of all we can do, really.
There is, and it's there. I think that's the thing, that if people are worried, there are things you can do, there are things that you can change if you're not doing them already. Just, you know, like we're talking about with energy and with food shop, you know, 40% in your food shop is a huge amount that could potentially be saved by making, you know, quite small changes.
So I assume where you live you don't have Deliveroo.
We don't have Deliveroo, so if we want to get a takeaway, which we do get sometimes, but it definitely turns you off having a takeaway. My husband does the takeaway run because it's in the nearest town, which is again like a 45-minute round trip. So if we want to get a Chinese or an Indian, and they are the only two options, or we do have a Domino's there as well, but they don't deliver. No one delivers here. It always happens every year because we have a huge influx in the village over the summer, because we're coastal, so there's a beach just at the end of the road, and there's like a community website, and everyone always says, oh, so where's the nearest takeaway? Where can I order a takeaway from? Who delivers? And it's like no one delivers. But you get used to it. You do get used to it.
And takeaways, they are very expensive.
They are really expensive. And it's great, you know, it's great to have a takeaway, but I do remind myself often that it is sometimes the idea of a takeaway is often better than the takeaway itself, I find. Which is why sometimes if you just take a minute and you know, there are so many great recipe books and stuff online with fakeaways and things like that taste almost as good, I think. Just so much cheaper. I know, God, I do love I love the ease of takeaway, I think, more than the actual takeaway itself.
More than the actual food. What's your opinion on recipe boxes like you know, HelloFresh and Mindful Chef? And
I really like them. I think they're really good. I'm not a massive fan of the amount of packaging they use. I was quite surprised by how much packaging they used when I got them. I have tried Gusto, which we did for a little while, and it was when I was really, really busy with work, and I think we did it for 3 nights a week. I think at one point I did 4 nights a week, and we started off with, you know, they have these brilliant offers where it's so, and I think it was 4 nights, it was like 18 quid or something for 4 nights dinners, and it was brilliant. It was really nice for me to not have to think about what we're having for dinner and doing planning. And it meant the other 3 nights a week, because we're having quite exciting dinners with them, I wasn't worried about, you know, having a kind of a soup dinner or a jacket potato dinner, because I felt like we'd had quite exciting dinners during the week. But I thought the portion sizes were great. I did some of them, and I've never worked with any recipe company, so I haven't worked with Gusto. That was just me buying it. So I feel like I could talk freely about it. I have been asked by a number of recipe box companies to work with them, and I've gone online to have a look at them before I've obviously, you know, so I've checked them out, and I've been shocked by how expensive some of them are. Not necessarily the main big 3, but some of the others that have set up, some of the I guess more sort of niche ones are so expensive. I mean, you could buy for the same amount the most incredible ingredients. So
I should own up. So I am a Mindful Chef subscriber, and
Okay.
I suppose the big companies are Gusto and HelloFresh.
Yeah.
And then Mindful Chef is probably one of the more niche because it's healthy.
Yeah.
It is healthy. So I started getting Mindful Chef during lockdown because I was desperate for that treat.
Yeah.
And I wanted a healthy treat, and I wanted to reduce my reliance on takeaways.
Yeah.
So when you are comparing Mindful Chef to the price of takeaways, you will absolutely save money.
Yeah.
But so what I do is I get a box every 2 weeks, and I get 2 meals for 2 people, even though there's just me, but that means I have 4 meals and it's 2 repeats.
Yeah.
So that normally works out to be about 26 pounds if I go veggie.
Yeah.
So that's 26 pounds for 4 meals, which is vegetarian. I know I could get those ingredients for like a tenner in Tesco's or Aldi or whatever, but it is, I don't want to, I'm being honest, I don't want to, say that they're wonderful, because I know that they are expensive, but I love the convenience. I've learned how to cook lentils and tofu because I ordered loads of vegan options. And it felt like a treat. And oh my gosh, during lockdown, it was really depressing.
Oh, our shopping bill during lockdown went up.
It was
massively.
And I was spending
50-60%, it probably went up by, and we kept telling ourselves, because my husband, because we live in the middle of nowhere, has to drive quite a long way to work, because he works in Truro. So we're like, we're saving all this money on petrol, and we're like, we far exceeded any money that we were spending on petrol and doing it, because I just felt like everyone needed treats. Like we were all stuck at home, and the 3 meals a day, that breakfast, lunch, dinner, they were all so important to us. I mean, really looked forward to them because we didn't really have much else to look forward to.
Well, yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it? Like you had an hour we could go for a walk, and then your food was your highlights of your day. I spent so much money on alcohol, so much money, because again, it was another treat. So it's taken me until now to actually take a break from alcohol, but I think
everyone did, didn't they? I didn't at the beginning of lockdown when everyone was having all the fun. I was writing the book because 6 weeks, it was just the worst timing. So 6 weeks before lockdown started, I signed my contract with Bloomsbury.
Wow.
And then you have, I think you have like 3 months, I can't remember how long it was, 2 or 3 months to deliver the final thing with everything tested. So I'd written all the recipes, they were all done, but they all needed to be tested. There was ones I wanted to change. I had to write the full book. So I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning and then in bed till midnight. So I really felt like I missed out on the early fun of lockdown. That lots of people
when it was
having.
A novelty,
when it was a novelty, when we were all making sourdough and watching Tiger King.
God, that feels like forever ago.
It does, doesn't it? It feels like years ago.
Wow, yeah.
Odd time.
Right, what else? The other thing I want to touch on, because we haven't really yet, is packed lunches.
Packed lunches.
Because it's one of those subjects that I've written a lot about for Fabulous magazine and The Sun, the article that keeps being refreshed every year. Packed lunches.
You have a packed lunch article that went viral.
Yeah. I had 2 articles,
like millions of views.
Yeah, I had 2 articles that went viral. So I had one on packed lunches, which was feeding 3 kids for a week for less than a tenner. And then the other one that went viral was how to feed a family of 4 for less than 40 quid for a week.
Yeah.
And I literally picked up 8,000 Instagram followers in 2 days.
Really? That's went
great. And 1 million people read one of those articles, can't remember which one. 1 million people read it within 24 hours.
Wow.
On The Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
It was May of the first lockdown, so it was that perfect sweet spot of people really starting to stress about how much they were spending on food, and they did recipe ideas, and it was all the stuff we've already talked about before, batch cooking and using up leftovers and all that kind of stuff. But
so what are your top sort of lunchbox tips?
So
is this kind of taking this, is this all lunches, like eating when you're working at home, or specifically lunch boxes?
Well, I suppose mine was specifically for school lunch boxes, and when you're out and about, it's going to save you an absolute fortune if you're like a day out with the kids and you take snacks rather than buying everything. I'm not always a person who practices what I preach. It depends how much time I've got, but the boys do have packed lunches. So I think it's like bulk it up with chopped up strawberries and cucumber and apples. Actually, strawberries are quite expensive, but apples are fairly cheap. Bananas are really cheap and really filling. I like to get like the oat cereal bars, which you could make yourself. I know, because I think I put in a recipe for flapjacks into the packed lunch, because to make flapjacks is so cheap, right?
It's so cheap.
And so simple.
I've got a recipe in my book, and it's for chocolate oat biscuits, and it's really, or you can just do literally oats, honey, some chopped fruit, and it's so cheap.
Yeah,
and throw nuts in there, and you can just wipe them in the fridge and they'll last for ages.
Yeah, and the kids really like it because it's got a bit of honey in, so it's a little bit of sweetness and the mixed fruit. And I was putting in sandwiches, but like with basic things like sliced ham or sliced cheese, or using leftover chicken from the roast chicken, and bottled water. I'd never put like fruit shoots, that kind of crap drinks, because I hate them. And so it's really easy to get packed lunches right down in cost. And school dinners, for me, I think it's about £2.40, £2.50 a day per child.
Yeah, it adds up, doesn't it? It really adds up. Like my boys, and I read this in your book actually, about the free hot lunches, which when they bought that in, my little ones both had hot lunches
when it was free,
because you just think, why not? When it was free and it's pretty nutritious food they were serving at their old school. It's changed a bit now because both of mine are at secondary school now, and actually they're not that I'm knocking their school because it's a great school, but I don't think there are very many great choices. Particularly, there's not very many good vegetarian choices as well. So Sammy, my youngest, quite often really struggles to get something. So we are, and also not always making the best choices if it's presented to them. So we don't really do fizzy drinks at home. We don't do the fruit. We've never really done like the fruit shoots or sugary drinks, and so it's hard because it's there, and it's so we've basically gone back to packed lunches. So they have school dinners once or twice a week as kind of a treat, and to help them make good choices.
Although they probably just order a chicken burger.
I mean, you can see, this is the thing, you can see.
You get a notification
on their, when you put money on their thing, you just get all of their stuff coming through. And I have to, I do sometimes, to avoid conflict, just not look at it, because I think, you know what, it's 1 or 2 days a week to make those choices. So my packed lunches.
My eldest, he does take packed lunches into school every day, but I know he goes to McDonald's on a Friday after school, gets the train to school, and he's got like a card, like a Go Henry card with money on. So I see exactly what he buys, and like, whatever. It's only like a Friday, isn't it? It's like only day where he doesn't have any sport, he's allowed a treat.
But it's nice, I like Friday treats as well, so it's it's fun, and we do, for the most part we do eat healthily at home.
Cool. Okay, right, I'm keeping an eye on time because I need to run. I'm the one causing this, so I'm just going to flash up the books again. I don't think I'd showed my book yet. So Amy's book is called Hob, very easy to remember. My book, The Money Guide to Transform Your Life, which I talk about all the time, which is a year and a bit old. It has a whole chapter dedicated to food money saving, hence why this podcast season 4 is happening. I'm talking to experts from each of the chapters of my book. And Amy, how do people find you on social media?
On social media, Amy Sheppard Food is the best place to find me. I've got Instagram. that's the best place to
Have
find me.
you got a website?
I haven't. I used to. I don't have it anymore. It was just, I decided to move everything over to Instagram. So all under every post, the recipe is right there. And I've got a highlights section as well, so people can find winter warmers, quick fixes. It's just all there in one place.
Oh, that's cool. But
Yeah.
just buy the book. That's the easiest thing.
Yeah.
From Amazon. From Amazon. And is it available in like Waterstones?
Yeah, stuff? Amazon, Waterstones, Smiths, loads of independent retailers have got it as well. So pretty much, most places you buy books. Morrison's have got it actually.
Oh, amazing.
Tip, because I think it's about 13 quid on Amazon, but Morrison's have got it and it's only 10 quid in Morrison's. So if you have Morrison's,
you don't want people to shop at Amazon because they don't pay any tax.
This is true. So Morrison's have it, and I think some Waitrose stores have now got it as well.
That's so exciting. You're in the supermarket.
Yeah.
You've made it.
So, wow.
Oh, that was amazing. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
Yeah, no, it's been really great to chat to you. Yeah, go follow Amy on Instagram. Her pictures are beautiful. She said she doesn't curate her feed, but her feed's so much more beautiful than mine. There's just more pictures of me in my feed.
It's just only food on mine.
It's only food.
It's so rare that I put an appearance on my feed.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna press stop record, but stay there. But thank you everybody for watching and listening. Bye.